Well, good evening and welcome to this, the third and final stick of Pack 21 of the Cigar Professor educational subscription. As you can see, I'm running the show and everybody's done a no-show on me tonight. So we'll wait and see whether Omar and Topher will turn up tonight. Omar's never missed a single show, so I'm expecting him just to turn up in the traditional Omar time that he normally turns up in. And Topher was just being a big crybaby, where, flights, where, travel, where, luggage, waiting for luggage and all that sort of stuff. So we'll wait and see whether Professor Crybaby turns up on the show tonight, although he might have got his nose out of joint a little bit when we said to him, I think it was on the last episode, that we've noticed that the viewer ratings are higher when he's not on the show. But I do wonder whether that's because he goes behind the scenes and logs in on all his devices to make us feel better, or whether people just prefer the show without him. No idea, but he's not here to question that. So anyway, we have Daniel. Good evening, Daniel. Thank you for joining us this evening. If you are watching with us tonight, drop a comment in the comment field so that we can see that you're watching. Tonight we are smoking the Cohiba Red Dot. Now, people are going to say, oh, this is a fake Cohiba, it's a knockoff Cohiba, it's a rip-off Cohiba. No, it's not. When the trade embargo due to the Cuban Missile Crisis occurred under Kennedy in America, and they banned imports of tobacco from Cuba into America, companies registered many of the traditional names that smokers were used to, such as Monte Cristo, Trinidad, Cohiba, etc., in America under American business, cigar businesses, and started manufacturing not exactly the same, but a similar style of cigar to meet that market need. So these are legitimate registered brands in America, made by legitimate registered companies, but these are the American brands, not the Cuban brands. And so tonight we are smoking the Cohiba Red Dot. And just a little bit of information about this cigar before we get going, and just to bide the time to see if anyone else will turn up on the show tonight. It is a Robusto size Cohiba. Now, the interesting thing about this one is that it does have a Cameroon wrapper. Now, we know that Omar is a fanboy of Cameroon wrappers, and we are waiting to see if he turns up and also whether he actually likes this cigar. The other interesting thing, particularly with this cigar, is that I'm trying to quickly read the notes in front of me that I've already read but forgotten. It has a blend of Dominican Cuban leaf filler. And I also believe that I read somewhere, not on this document, but when I was doing my research for it, that it actually has a Sumatran or Indonesian binder. So a couple of flavoured tobaccos there of Omar. And yes, well, look, I only had to mention some tobacco and which ones they were, and that they're Omar's favourite. And like someone whose ears are burning, he decides to turn up. Hey, how are you?
James, how are you? Just have to restart the computer.
That's all good. Life's getting a bit like that. You seem to have to restart everything these days.
Yeah.
Steve, hi, thank you for joining us tonight. Dave, thank you for joining us. Yes, Daniel, we are definitely looking forward to it. Wow, that sounds really good. Dave, you maybe should take a photo and send it through to us. And hi, Stu, thank you for joining us this evening. Once again, I'll put that call out. If you've joined us this evening on the live stream, please drop in a comment, say good day so we can say hello to you. I've already given the rundown on this cigar. And tonight I'm going to use the Cigar Professor Perfect Cutter that we gave out in one of the previous packs.
What if someone has missed out? Can this repurchase it?
Yes, they can. I do have more of these in stock. They're not a budget cutter, but they're also not a high-end cutter. They're sort of in the middle of the road. Nice, solid feel to them. Real nice, heavy stainless steel. And the reason they're called a perfect cutter, as you can see, there's no hole through it. Look on the back. It's just a solid back. And the idea of that is that a lot of people, when they get into smoking cigars, who are not used to cutting and lighting cigars, this is just the right amount to take the right amount off each time you do a cut. You take one cut off. If it's not enough, you take another. But when you've got a cutter that you can put all the way through, a lot of new people, or particularly if you're in a busy environment, not paying attention, it's easy to take a little bit too much off. And the problem with that is that you'll find the cigar starts to unravel as you smoke it, and the moisture in your mouth loosens up the gum where the cap was sealing the wrapper. But for something different tonight, I'm going to use my bullet lighter. I have not used this in a long, long time. And it's just a little single jet flame, and I reckon that's just the thing for it tonight. How are you, Omar?
Very good, James. Wow. Very sweet light up this one has. Almost like sweet cinnamon, honey type flavors.
As you can see, with a single jet, it takes a little bit longer than the big double jet or the triple jet, but the slower you toast a cigar, the better the initial flavors are anyway. So
yeah, of course.
Don't have any...
does make a huge difference.
Taking my time. As long as there's enough butane in the lighter to last out, that's the main thing.
That's it.
Oh, wow, that is a very smooth, sweet light up, isn't it?
Very sweet.
That is beautiful. Look, the cigar I've got has got a little bit of damage to the wrapper on the foot. It was one that I came across when I was packing orders. I set it aside and I thought, stuff it, I'll smoke it on the show tonight. To be expected when you go through the volume of cigars that we go through, to get a few that are a little bit knocked around in damage in transport. These do make a hell of a journey to get to America, let alone to then come to us all the way to Australia. So it is quite common to get the odd one that's been a little bit squashed in transit. But what a beautiful light up.
I think a minute into the light up, it comes up with an earthy note, some kind of very herbaceous / earthy note, straight after the sweetness is coming in.
It's almost like a caramelized honey sweetness.
Yeah.
Sort of got that soft, mellow, round sweetness, but sort of that little bit of a caramelized note to it. That foot smoke is lovely and light.
It is. James, tell me about the wrapper.
All right. I'm enjoying the cigar too much to talk. That's the way you want it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, it is a Cameroon wrapper.
Yep. And it's
an Indonesian binder and Dominican Piloto Cubano tobacco fillers.
And it's is it the wrapper is grown in Nicaragua, I think.
I'm not sure where the wrapper is. It just says that it's a Cameroon wrapper, so I don't know whether it has to be grown in Cameroon to be deemed Cameroon. Otherwise, they would have called it a Cameroon seed wrapper.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be grown in Cameroon for it to be called Cameroon these days. The only exception they make that for is for the Cuban seed, Habano's Cuban seed. That's the exception they usually make. I do agree with the cinnamon honey sort of flavor.
Now, where my wrapper was a little bit damaged, I didn't quite light it right there, so I just got to do a quick touch up before it turns into something a little bit more. I'll tell you what, doing a touch up at the start of a cigar is always better than touching up throughout the cigar.
Yeah, 100%. What happened to Topher again?
Crybaby, wah, traveling, wah, flights, wah, waiting for luggage.
Yeah,
Wah, I've got to get back from the airport.
it's standard, hey.
Just yeah, you know. PMS, I'm sure.
Combination of that, PMS, and some other problems. He will get there. Can't lose faith. He'll be all right. He's a big
The
girl.
retro is very smooth on this cigar. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It is.
I decided, since it was a Cohiba, instead of getting one of my other ashtrays out tonight, I got my Cuban Cohiba ashtray out tonight. So the two Cohibas collide in the ashtray in front of me.
What's for the pairing?
Look, we've got it on good authority. Daniel's told us it's that time of the month for Topher. So
yeah, been there, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's always there for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird place, but yeah, whatever. So what were you going to talk about the next pack times? You were quite adamant.
That's right. Maybe we should do it before he gets on the show. Then he doesn't know.
Yeah, he would spoil it otherwise anyway.
Well, I was actually going to make the next pack viewer's choice.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether our viewers are game for something like that. But at the moment, I have the next 3 packs organized, and I thought, which one are we going to do? What one? So I've worked out 2 packs based on the inventory set aside, and I'll present option number 1. So way back in our first year of Cigar Professor, during those terrible lockdown years, we smoked this cigar.
Yes.
Perdomo Lot 23 in a Connecticut in a Gordito size.
Yeah.
Which is effectively a tad shorter than a
Oro.
No, it's actually a little bit shorter than a Robusto, but it's a lot fatter than a Robusto.
Right, yes.
I think it's almost a 60 ring gauge. It's quite chunky. I mean, look, we're smoking a Robusto tonight. That's the one next to it. So as you can see, it's not too much difference, only a little bit difference. Like maybe half an inch, but the diameters, it's a bit hard to tell, but you can see the thickness between my thumb and finger on each one. It's just much thicker. So we smoked that back in year 1. So I thought, as with Perdomo and all their things, they do a Connecticut in their line range. Then they do a sun-grown.
Yeah.
And then they do a Maduro.
Yeah.
So that's the Lot 23 trifecta there. So that could be option number 1. But then I've also got a lot of smaller cigars in inventory at the moment, just for the way cost of living, taxes, etc. And I'm finding a lot of our clientele are purchasing smaller cigars. So I thought pack option number 2 could include, and Omar, you are going to get very upset that I'm putting this in the pack.
I know what you're going to do.
Let everybody know what that is.
Firecracker, man. It is probably Perdomo's best stick, and it's one of the most flavorsome stick I've ever had.
Yep.
Very
That's the Perdomo firecracker. And there is a firecracker that I have. you can't buy it anymore. You'll
can't
never
buy
get it again. I think when I spoke to Nick, they said they probably wouldn't be into making these special things much more anyway. It's sort of not their core focus these days. I better puff on my cigar so it doesn't go out. Anyway, so another one that we haven't tried in the firecracker range is the Wise Man Maduro in a firecracker.
Yeah, good cigar.
So that's the two firecrackers.
Yep.
Now they're quite expensive because they are limited, and they don't sell them through the wholesalers. Perdomo only sell them directly to the brick and mortar stores, and so the only way that I can secure stock is to actually buy them retail from the brick and mortar stores. So there's those two. Then I managed to get hold of some. This one here doesn't have a label. This is the CAO.
Yeah.
Amazon in the dagger. Now the Amazon is only harvested every 3 years. It's semi-wild grown tobacco in the Amazon rainforest, and it is a Brazilian puro. So all of the tobacco comes from the Amazon rainforest in this cigar. So I thought, well,
that's the two options.
So that's part of this pack. So this is the second pack. So
Option two,
I thought, well, we've got 3 small sticks, and the value of the pack isn't quite there. So I really need to bulk that pack out a little bit more. So I thought maybe we could do some smaller sticks. So we could do, with that pack, the Liga Privada T52 in a coronet.
Beautiful stick.
The Liga Privada number 9 in a coronet.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, those two would probably pair well with the 2 firecrackers, but what are we going to pair with the CAO Amazon Basin cigar? Now, there is a brand of cigar called Villager. They're based in Sweden. That's where they actually produce their cigars. They do some hand-rolled cigars, but a large majority of their small cigars are machine wrapped. But one of the things they do is they do a Brazilian puro in their small cigar line. It's basically a 4.5 by 38 box pressed. So that is the Villager Brazilian puro.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a good pairing with that to sort of see 2 takes on Brazilian tobacco.
Yeah.
And that we'd probably do the Liga Privada T52 with the Perdomo firecracker and the Liga Privada number 9 with the Wise Man Maduro, just, sort of trying to pair similar flavor profile cigars with one another. So the option for pack number 2 is effectively 6 small cigars. So we'd do 2 cigars each week.
Man, it's
now the only thing is, with the increase in tobacco licensing fees and tobacco taxes at the moment, both of these packs will probably have to go up about $15, maybe $20. I haven't quite crunched all the numbers yet, just solely because every cigar now there's an extra few dollars in licensing fees that hasn't been applied on any of their packs yet, that I've sort of absorbed for the last 6 months or more, and also just with the tobacco taxes went up September last year, they're just about to go up again. So so these some of these cigars are stuff that's only just landed recently in the last week or two. So we will have to revise the pack prices ever so slightly. So that's the options. You can go and whatever pack you don't choose for the next 3 months, that will be the following 3 months. So you're basically just choosing the order of the packs. But so this week you're actually getting, or this month you're actually getting to see the next pack and the following pack, and get to choose which order you want to do it in. So we've got the Perdomo Lot 23 Trifecta, or we have the 6 little ones. So
Yeah.
I put it out to you all, and just see what everybody wants to do.
So that's 2 options, right? You said you might have 3 options.
No, just 2. Sorry,
2
just
options.
2 options.
Okay.
There is another pack, but that's for later down the track. Some of the one or two of the cigars in that pack, I just want it to rest for a bit longer before they're released, because they only arrived in the country last week.
James, I think the Perdomo option probably will be better first, because the other 2 cigars, the option second, gonna have pairing and will be well in winter, and it's just more cozy and chilled, and you grab a drink in between and get the second cigar going. That might be an idea, but I think we just leave it for our listeners and viewers as to what they think.
Absolutely. So we've got one for pack 2. Daniel wants the 6 cigar pack. So we'll just see what.
Realizes that it's going to come anyway.
It will. If we do the Perdomo as the next pack, then the 6 cigar pack's the following one.
Yeah, because once you said the demo, like, I shouldn't say that, but he's got some issues, right? When it comes to cigars, all he thinks about is rings and what will produce more rings. Yes, he's very ring driven.
He is. He's a bit obsessed with the old ring, isn't he?
Yeah, very obsessed. Hence why he knows Topher's cycle.
Yep. Well, I was quite amazed. I got through all that talking, and my cigar didn't go out sitting in the ashtray.
Yeah, it's exceptionally good. Look at the razor sharp burn for outdoor smoke.
Yep.
It's as perfect as it can be. I'm going a bit fast because I'm outdoors. Don't forget.
Yeah, look, mine's not the greatest, but it's not bad considering I've been ignoring my cigar. So
yeah.
My ash just dropped, and that's basically because
hot and cold.
I had let it cool right down, and then I've had to heat it right back up again.
Yeah, so
gotcha. That always gets your ass. If you're constantly smoking at a constant rate on your thing, whether it be slow or fast, you tend to find that the ash tends to remain constant. But when you have those fluctuations from going from fast smoking down to very, very slow and then very fast again, you actually find that the ash will tend to drop when you speed up from that rest period. Well, everybody was enjoying the show, but I hate to burst everybody's bubble, but
nah, don't. Oh,
we have this guy turning up.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm so happy to see you all. How you doing? I'm back. I literally, the plane landed, we grabbed our baggage, got home, said hello to the kids who I haven't seen in days, and then told them to go to bed because Dad had man business to do downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Good on you, Toph. You're a good man.
Well, that's going a bit far, Omar. Don't stretch it.
I'm lying, man. I'm a certified liar, so take it as you will.
Fair enough, then. Have at it. All right. So I think I need to just smoke twice as fast as you guys to catch up. That's how this works, isn't it? Just got to burn the crap out of the cigar.
Nah, man, you got there. We got this sooner or later.
Well, you did miss out on the exciting bit of news.
I doubt that there's anything exciting happening, but okay.
I announced the next 2 packs.
2?
And
Gosh.
It's going to be viewers' choice as to which pack I send out as the next pack.
Wow, so I didn't even get to say anymore.
No.
Wow.
No, because you're not here, so you don't get to say.
I mean, it makes sense, but it still hurts.
Well, yeah. I'm sure the 2 of you can throw your hat into the ring. Not that you have a hat, Topher, but Omar does.
Yeah, I'm a bit. Hang on. There you go.
That's cheating, man.
Lovely. There we go.
People tell me I'm all hat and no cattle, and I say, well, at least I've got a hat.
That's right.
You should make that compulsory, man. Damo and I is always wearing a hat, so you could just do the same thing.
I have a gorgeous head of hair. Why would I cover that up? Ooh.
So that's
Damo.
option 1.
Damo.
So remember back in year 1, we did the
lot
23?
Yeah.
So this is the lot 23 Connecticut that we did in year 1. Not the same batch, but a new batch of the same thing. And then the sun-grown and the Maduro. So that's option 1.
And to be clear, they're genuine. They're still genuine lot 23. So all 3 of those have come off that same patch of dirt.
Correct.
Amazing. Now, there would have to be very few cigars in the world where you could do that.
Oh, not very many at all. Actually, I did see a video with Steve Sarker talking about some of the cigars he was doing, and he actually does single plantation cigars as well. So,
but to have it single plantation available in a natural, a sun-grown, and a Connecticut, a sun-grown, and a Maduro,
exactly,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then we're all familiar with this. We've had this a few times.
Mm-hmm. Now, does that come out of your personal stash?
It will be, actually. I will be diving into my personal stash yet again.
How many? You seem to pull them out every second day.
Well, that's because you bought the entire planet's supply of the damn things.
Yeah. Yes, I tried to. But the reason I want to put that in the next pack is because I've got this one that we haven't done, which is the Wise Man Maduro Firecracker.
Yep.
But they're both short sticks, and the value of those sticks isn't quite up to where we normally value sticks in the pack.
Yeah.
So I thought to pair with each of those
a Woody.
The Domo.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yep. That's the Liga Privada.
Yep.
T52.
Yeah, very nice.
Coronet size.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Liga Privada number 9 in a coronet size.
See, those are great smokes in their own right. Like, they're not big smokes, obviously, but flavor-wise, those are the kinds of small sticks that we talk about where you still come away feeling like you've had a cigar because they've got the flavor profile. They're not just kind of nothing. You know, for me personally, I'm not interested in smoking small Connecticut's anymore. If I'm going to smoke small, I want something with a bit more boldness, a bit more body to it. And those cigars definitely tick that box.
And then the other one that I managed to acquire with a lot of difficulty and trouble doesn't have a label, but this is the CAO Amazon Basin in the dagger size, which is basically a 4x38.
Yeah.
It's a Brazilian Puro. All of the tobacco is from wild-grown tobacco in the Amazon rainforest.
Yes, I've heard of this. I think you told me a little bit, and I've heard a little bit about it. This is very unusual.
You're a CAO fanboy.
I am. I will put my hand up and own that one.
I love getting Puro cigars of whatever country they're in so that you can get a better understanding, a better appreciation of the tobacco from that country. And so that's why I wanted to get this one. But it is very unusual. It is only released every 3 years. It's not harvested every year. Yeah. And it is a unique cigar in that respect. So I wanted something to compare to. Now, we've never done this before, but there is a brand called Villager Cigars, and I have stocked some of their cigars in the past for supply, not for packs.
I had some. Yep.
And they do handmade cigars, but they do an awful lot of machine-rolled cigars, particularly the smaller ones.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, in their range, I discovered they also have a Brazilian Puro.
Right.
So this is the Villager Brazilian in it's basically about a 4.5 by 38 box press.
Okay.
Now it is machine wound, but
sure.
You can tell because it doesn't have a cap on it, and it's already cut at both ends.
Okay.
But I just thought it would be something different, something interesting to actually have to compare one lot of Brazilian tobacco to another lot of Brazilian tobacco.
That is interesting. So, because that one that gets released every couple of years, that's probably the only tobacco that you're likely to smoke where the tobacco itself has been growing for over a year before it's harvested.
Yes.
That would be that, because that's a very unusual characteristic.
So anyway, they're the two options: six small ones or 3 big ones. So,
all right. So, Omar, what are you thinking? Where would your vote go?
I was look. We basically can't go wrong. But I said to him, I said, if you want to do doubles, let's do it later because it'd be more cooler. You know, you can. Summer, it's hard to sit longer, right? Mm-hmm. And with the winter months, you basically, tend to enjoy a little bit more.
All right.
And I was originally planning, I must admit, before I came up with this harebrained idea for tonight's show earlier today at the last minute, I was planning for this to be the next pack originally. So that was my original intention. I'd been working towards getting that together for the next pack.
Which pack would benefit more from another 3 months to settle before we smoke them?
Definitely the smaller cigars, because the smaller cigar only arrived in my possession last week.
All right. Well, I'm going to cast my vote.
Yeah.
I'm going to cast my vote that you go with your original plan. We do the Perdomos first, just so that we're giving those smaller sticks the best possible chance to shine when we get to them.
Yep.
In the last 7 years, this is probably the only logical thing you have said. Mark my vote, go back in history,
and boy, have you been waiting. You've just been hanging out for it.
Yeah, this is the only logical thing you ever said. So,
mark today in your diaries, everybody.
No, but that's so. I like it. I actually like the idea because we could get to age them at least 3 more months.
Couple of months, let them settle. I think that's what I think it would be the better way to go.
Yep. Well, that does make perfect logic sense.
Omar, I'm devastated that you hadn't already come up with that yourself. I think you are supposed to be the brains of the operation.
I know
it's not working out well, but that was the theory. I'm the beauty, you're the brains, and Damo does all the work. I thought that was the arrangement.
Yeah. It's a bit like you slack on marketing at times, originally. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to slack it too.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. So I was having a chat with Carly, who's working very closely with me on all the Topher stuff now. And, that's going quite well. I'm really happy. And she said to me, you had that coffee thing, because she helped me with some of the photography for that back when I launched it. You had that coffee. What happened to that? And I just told her the point blank brutal truth. I suck at marketing. That's like, the product was good, maybe a little bit before its time. I think people are becoming more aware of those pouches now than what they were then. But honestly, if I'd have marketed it correctly, I think that could have gone somewhere. Bottom line, I suck at marketing. And you look at all my stuff, you look at the Cigar Professor stuff, because I was in charge of marketing there. You look at the coffee. I need other people to do my marketing for me. It's not my strong suit, turns out.
At least you know that.
I know it now. It's cost me a lot of money to find out.
At least you did, because a lot of people don't even find out what the fuck they're doing wrong.
True.
You want to know the interesting thing? When we launched your coffee bag product, it was the only specialty grade coffee in a pour over single serve on the market in Australia. Yeah. There was another one that was a very, what I call a robust generic blend, just a bit more like what you'd expect from a Harris Coffee and Tea or Lavazza type. Not those brands, but that sort of style of coffee. They're just the mundane type coffee. And we were the only ones doing the specialty coffee, high-end specialty coffee. Since that product has not been on the market, I reckon I have seen in my social media feed no less than a dozen different companies doing the same thing. And even some of the high-end companies now, like Toby's Estate Coffee, are doing these pour-over bags from time to time on their specialty coffee range as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, look, I needed to have budget for marketing. I needed to know how to do marketing. And also I needed to be less stubborn about offering the bags, and I needed to have it available as beans and as ground coffee as well. And if we'd had those 3 lines available, the beans, the ground coffee, and the bags, and I'd had some budget and a bit more nous with the marketing, then that could have perhaps gone somewhere. But marketing, not my thing at all. I'm an ideas man. That's what I am.
Yep.
In the words of the castle. But that's why Carly's making a big difference for what I'm doing now, because she's got a bit more of that marketing brain, and we're actually looking at bringing on a full-time marketing person, a social media ads person, to try and plug that gap.
Well, my suggestion with your marketing people, having not done in my own businesses, because my own businesses have never had the surplus cash flow to pay other people to do the work for them.
Yeah.
But with my wife's business, I find the best thing that marketing people that are able to market is themselves. But when they come to market for you, they're not as good at marketing you and your product as they are as marketing themselves and how good they are at marketing.
That is very, very true. Yes.
So one of the things that I've always put on their table when we've been dealing with marketing people, well, let's put your money where your mouth is. Have a retainer, which is below what they want, but have a fair commission that if they can hit the targets that they claim they can hit, they would actually be making more than what they would be if you just paid them what they wanted, which incentivizes them to do it. But interestingly enough, I've actually had, I reckon, at least 3/4 of the marketing people I make that offer to decline it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they just say, oh, well, that's not how it works. That's not how it goes. And I'm like, well, if you're as good as you say are, you'll actually be making more money. But very few people are willing to do that. But we did have one company that did do that. And they did a not bad job. They weren't as good as they wanted, but they weren't as bad as we feared. We sort of came out in the middle. And so it's a bit like when you have a builder do building projects. Don't pay the final bill until everything's settled.
That's right. That's right.
There's too many people I know have started building projects, paid the builder, all these problems, and the builder's long gone.
Yeah. Oh, these days gone bankrupt, just Phoenix for the whole business. Yeah. No, look, what we're going to do, I'm really happy with the way that we're building a team in the Philippines. This will be a little bit different, but what we've done so far was my wife found a really, really, really good person for her business. She's a mortgage broker, and she found someone who was reliable, had a great attitude, was a fast learner, and so forth. And then slowly we've just started employing all of his mates and friends. And so his wife works for me, his best friend works for me. And then we've got, I think, a sister works works for my wife, and then we've got a couple of others that were kind of referred by them, and it's working out really, really well. They've got a great culture. We're really happy with the productivity. They're really happy with the work. And so what I'm going to do first, this is my first attempt at getting someone. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not saying it'll go well for sure, but I will do my best. We've asked them to find someone that they know who's experienced with social media ads, because this can't be a role I train for. I've trained all my team in their various roles, and this is something I don't know how to do. So I need someone who's got the skill. And they've come back and said, look, there isn't really anyone in their friendship group who's actually going to be good. So we're going to put it out and just basically recruit somebody from the island of Cebu so that they're physically going to be in approximately the same physical area, and they can start to be a part of that culture, because these guys hang out on weekends. And, after they had the cyclones, we gave them some money, and they spent that handing out food. They handed out thousands of meals. Actually, it was amazing what they did with such a small amount of money. They spent their weekend. They got a relative of theirs who had a restaurant to just cook up. So they paid for the food using the money we gave them, and then the relative donated the restaurant for free, and they cooked up all these meals and put them in little clamshells, and they were going down into, because all the slums are built in the floodplains towards the rivers, and it's all unregulated. It's just they're just building out of whatever corrugated iron they can find, and of course it all gets swept away as soon as there's a typhoon. A lot of people died, and so they just went down to those areas and just were handing out food to people that in some cases hadn't eaten in quite some time, and bottled water and drinkable water, because that's a big problem after typhoons, obviously. And they spent a weekend doing that, and all 6 of them, so the 3 that work for me and the 3 that work for my wife, got together, brought in a couple of their other friends as well, and just did this amazing thing after the cyclone. What was that, last year now? And we want to I'll find somebody on the island of Cebu, hey Tony, and recruit them and give them 3 months probation. And this, we're going to pay them pretty well by their standards. This is we're paying enough money to get someone who's experienced. Give them 3 months, and then at the end of 3 months, if I'm not happy, we give them the flick. We move on to the next one. That's how Edwina found. His name's Ronald, the guy who was kind of the first person that we found. She went through about 4 or 5 duds until she found him. And since then it's been happy days. So we might have to go through the same process, but something along that line. And hopefully by the end of this year, I'll have someone that's really good on ads. And then, because I'll have fulfillment in Australia, and I'll have an ads person already on the payroll up and running, bringing back new products, or bringing back products, or releasing new products, including potentially entirely new businesses, is actually suddenly much more straightforward. So a number of things start to come back onto the table at that point.
Yep. It's interesting. Like, I'm not a marketing person either. It's definitely not my strength. Yeah. But having sat in the background watching other businesses, it's interesting. You've got sales, you've got marketing, you've also then got graphic design, and then you've also got your copywriter as well. And it's interesting that you've got to choreograph this harmonious dance between all those people to actually pull the whole thing together, because the marketing people are not sales orientated. They're not worried about the numbers game. They just want to keep throwing out marketing. But it's got to be giving you return on investment, which the salespeople are all interested in. But then you need it to look right, and also the wording's got to convey what you want to convey. So having someone who's compelling, a wordsmith is difficult, and particularly in our current environment where everyone's getting lazy and relying on AI to generate text. It's becoming difficult to find good wordsmiths in our society.
Yeah, so I've got Carly's wonderful with graphic design, so we got that sorted. And her role in the business is, her official title is brand manager. So growing sales is under her purview when it comes to the merch and the books and the DVDs and any other products. So she'll work directly with the ads person. She'll provide them with the copy and the graphic design, and then they will then manage and schedule all the different ads and campaigns and all the different targetings on all the different platforms and the A/B testing and all that crap. And then we'll watch the results and just see what comes back.
Very good. I am drinking in soda water.
Right, just bitters and soda water.
Bitter and soda water. I'm actually, because I'm on keto, when I go out and have diet drinks, I generally just get a diet soda when I'm out at the pub or out with dinner and with friends. And I have discovered that everybody is basically locked down to only having diet Coke or sugar-free Coke or Coke Zero, whatever you want to call it, one of those Coca-Cola diet drinks. Yeah. And I actually found that I was actually reaching for a can of Diet Coke on an extremely regular basis towards the end of last year.
Yeah, right.
And I thought I was probably drinking more cans of Diet Coke than Omar smoked cigars.
That's dangerous.
I'm going to dial back on that. So every time I go to a pub or a restaurant or a bar or somewhere like that, I asked for a diet drink, and all they've got to offer me is Diet Coke. So I've gone back to having bitters and soda water. It's got no sugar in it. It's got some flavour, and it's better than just drinking straight soda water. And it's the only other option they've got. So
yeah, right. It's a bit
when
of
I was at your event, that was what I was knocking back.
A bit of a sorry state of affairs, that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't got like diet squash or diet lemonade or
something.
Nothing. No other diet drinks. That's it.
Yeah, wow. The TLDR is that it was discontinued due to a lack of sales, due to me not doing the marketing very well at all. So a lot's changed since then. I've changed. My business has changed. I've got a team around me now, and I'm not saying I will bring it back, but I think probably towards the end of this year, I'll probably have a conversation with Damo. So Damo was the one doing the actual coffee. And it was never really worth your trouble either, Damo, because it never got big enough to actually, like, the amount of time you had to put into that to make.
I don't think that happen. I never drew a wage. I don't think.
No, you were helping me to keep costs down. It was just part of the
agreement that we worked towards it and worried about it once it took off.
Yeah, and it never took off, and it never took off. Our price point was a bit high, and that's because it was specialty coffee, and I'm not sure that being specialty coffee carried enough weight for the price penalty that we paid for it. Now, again, that's an awareness thing, that's a marketing thing, and I wasn't doing that very well. So that's a fixable problem, but it was a problem. And yeah, it was never worth the time that I put in, and Damo never got paid for it. I mean, in pure cash terms, it gave me back more money than I put into it. I wiped my face on it, but it certainly never paid me for the time that was put into it. But come the end of this year, particularly once I move the studio out of the house into its own dedicated commercial space, which will hopefully happen in the next financial year, and along with that, hopefully the volumes of merch will have grown to the point that I'll be bringing the merch up to Albury, because right now Carly does that in Melbourne. But it's a really low value use of her time. She's got all kinds of skills and talents, and having her stuff in envelopes is not a good use of her time. So once we grow the volumes a little bit more, I'll bring all of that up to Albury. And at that point, I'll be sitting there going, well, I've got a fulfillment business and I've got the ability to market. I'm now getting, somewhere in the order of 500,000 views on my work every single day, something like 100,000 video views on YouTube alone every single day. That's a radically different proposition to where I was last time I tried to launch the coffee. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see. That might make a comeback. I'll have to talk to Damo about it.
Yeah, and I think the other thing was too that we were doing it as a small scale thing because it didn't have we weren't jumping into an existing market. We were trying to start and grow a market from scratch. Yeah. And we were doing bare minimum runs. Yeah. To get everything done. And the profitability in a business is scale. Mm-hmm. And that I think if the system had scaled, the operational overheads would have come down, and we definitely would have seen a better run with that. So, but look, all these things are doable. All of the supply chain and the contacts and the infrastructure hasn't been lost. It's all just sitting there.
It's all there.
Can always be readdressed. But it was just, for those of you who are watching, it was actually a coffee that I helped develop for Omar when Omar was running a cafe. Omar had a cafe where everything was organic. And the trouble with a lot of organic food products, and particularly with coffee, they don't care about the quality of the coffee. They care about it just being organic. And Omar is passionate like me about having good quality coffee, loves really, really high-end coffee. And so he wanted something that was not only organic, but actually tasted like you'd get in a top-notch Melbourne cafe. And so that was the challenge that was laid down to me. And so we contracted a roaster. We got samples of every organic coffee that they had access to roasted up. And I didn't actually know initially that I was going to be the one doing all the bloody hard work. But the roaster knocked on my door and he goes, "This is for you," gave me a box, and I opened it, and it was like about 15 or 20 different coffees in there. I had to go through and make all the coffees individually and taste them, then try and work out which coffees would go together, and were we going to have 2 beans in the blend, 3 beans in the blend, 4 beans in the blend. I actually came up with what I thought was the best 3 working together. And then I gave it back to them, and they've actually got better experience in blending and roasting and profiling. And basically, they took what I did, and that was about 70 to 80% of the work, and tweaked it and made Omar's blend. And so that was effectively what we were doing. We actually roasted it slightly lighter for your product because it was a pour over, not an espresso style coffee. It was phenomenally smooth. It was really, really good. And the other thing was too that we did adjust the blend slightly to suit your flavor preferences to get more of that woody, earthy nuttiness into it as well.
Yeah, because I'm not really into the super high end, the fruity, the stone fruits and that sort of stuff in my coffees. I don't really, if I want plum, I'll suck on a plum. I like my coffee to have a bit of the earth and a bit of the dirt, a bit of that sense of grit. Maybe some cacao or something in there is nice, but I just want it to taste like coffee. It's a little bit like I love my cigars when they taste like cigars.
Yeah. Actually, talking about fruit, while we were in all of that, I actually noticed I was picking up some dried fruit notes in our cigar tonight.
It's a cigar show, yeah.
And look at that! Isn't this has got to be the best I've seen Topher in ages?
Yeah, stay like that. Oh shit, he's moving.
Oh no, he's back.
Apparently, my Wi-Fi's crapped itself.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm back. Apparently, my Wi-Fi's crapped itself.
Oh shit!
I'm sorry to come back, guys. I apologize for coming back. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the coffee story. Now, good question here from Daniel. What flavors? Let's do a situation report, gentlemen.
Well, that was what I was just saying. I was getting some dried fruit notes during that time. There is actually a tiny little bit of sourness in this cigar. Not an unpleasant amount by any means, but just enough to know there's a hint of it in there, which is making me, I think, lean towards that fruity note that's in it. It's not quite a plum. It's almost like a little bit like a not quite ripe fig, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean. I'm having trouble placing it, but I know the flavor you're talking about.
I think it reminded me of a nectarine peel, more of a nectarine sour peel.
Yeah, it's definitely some sort of soft fruit, sort of with a little bit of a tartness.
It's not as fuzzy as a nectarine peel. No, not funny. Okay, fine. I'll go back in my shell.
Yeah, not funny at all. And definitely dried, on the dried side of the fruitiness.
Well, Mr. Stew, interesting thing. So I have made a batch of chocolate. And the interesting thing with chocolate that a lot of people don't realize is that once a batch of chocolate's been made, it does actually have to rest for about 6 to 8 weeks for the flavor profile to develop in the finished chocolate. So I quickly knocked out some chocolate a couple of weeks ago when I had the opportunity and time availability. And it is just sitting there aging at the moment. So I'm hoping that I might be able to do something in this next pack. Wow. If not this next pack, definitely the one after. But there is some chocolate on the horizon, and it's in the process of getting made. My biggest stumbling block at the moment is actually tempering and casting the chocolate. With the hot weather that we've got and the high humidity, what actually happens is when you try and cast chocolate in a warm environment with high humidity, it actually creates that white bloom in the chocolate as it sets.
Yeah.
And the only way to get around that is to actually have a refrigerated environment to do the casting.
Yeah, right.
But unfortunately, I don't have a refrigerated environment. So I am waiting to try and get the right weather conditions because there's only so far I can crank the air conditioner down to cool the place down to do chocolate casting. And even if I had it at its coldest today, it wouldn't have been cold enough to drop the humidity and temperature to do the casting. So
yeah, right.
If the weather becomes favorable in the next few weeks for a day, I will melt and cast the chocolate, and that will be in the next pack. But just depends on the weather, unfortunately. I don't feel like sending out chocolate bars that have got white bloom all over them. So
Fair enough.
The other problem is too that when it gets that white bloom, the bars tend to stick in the molds as well. But when they get that nice shiny gloss and they set, they literally fall out of the molds without you even having to tap them.
Yeah,
it's almost, they come out as easily as opening a packet of matches and just tipping them out on the table.
Wow.
So when the tempering's perfect, it's sheer bliss, but it only takes the slightest change in temperature, humidity, and the damn things. You get a ruddy knife in there, and they break and stick, and you end up having them melt it all down again. So
Tony, you'd usually, if it's easy in the sense that it's drawing well, you'd say easy. Loose would really suggest that they probably haven't packed it tight enough. Loose draw would be a problem, and usually means the cigar is going to burn really fast and struggle to stay lit at the same time. But yeah, easy draw is a good thing. Loose draw, not so much.
It's definitely got a beautiful retro.
It is.
So there's the other thing too. So I've been smoking consistently, and everyone can see that the ash is actually held. So when I lit up Topher at the start, I was smoking at my normal rate, but then I actually put it down and went through the 2 packs, and actually sat there for quite a few minutes, and then I picked it up and had to give it a few good puffs to sort of reignite that cherry properly, and that sudden temperature caused the quarter an inch, half inch of ash to drop off. And I was explaining to our viewers that's normally what happens when you have to
100%.
do that. But while I'm consistent, the ash is holding really well. So
So I've already caught up to you, possibly even gone past you.
You can slow down now. Oh, you have gone past us. My goodness.
It's going
faster than I are.
So no, are there different lengths in this cigar? If I grabbed the wrong one? They're all the same.
Yep.
They are all the same.
Well, there goes that excuse.
You're just enjoying it too much, which is good.
Enjoying it too much. No, I was just trying to catch up. Turns out, that's what cigar smoking is. It's like a speed contest, isn't it? The faster, the better.
Look, I want to know when you're going to be smoking a cigar in Carly's studio.
I'll tell you what. Do you want to know something interesting? I've had an invitation from Senator Babette to come and do an oddcast from his studio and smoke a cigar with him while we're in there. Not from his studio, from his office in Parliament House. He smokes cigars in there, and no one's told him off. No one's been game. And he gets tobacco pouches delivered to Parliament House because they're technically illegal in Australia. And they keep on delivering them, and they keep on asking him to stop ordering them. And he says, no, I'm not going to stop ordering them. You're either going to let them in or you're going to arrest me. And either way, I win. So he's using his position inside Parliament House to kind of play chicken with customs at the moment, which is interesting. It's a bold choice. We'll see how it plays out. But no, he's invited me and Carly to come and do a show from in his office at Parliament House. We're probably going to do that in probably 2 Mondays' time, all going well. Not confirmed yet, but we'll do it at some point. And all going well, unless the shit has hit the fan between now and then, I'll smoke a cigar inside Parliament House.
Very nice.
Very good.
You do realise you probably actually need someone there that knows a bit more about cigars.
Well, look, you'll notice the Oddcast often has over 1,000 viewers on a Monday night. The Cigar Professor with your face on it only gets about 6. Now, I'm not saying that your face is the causative factor in that, but I will point out that my face is on both, right? So it ain't mine. It ain't my face, right?
Well, they're only tuning in to see Carly anyway.
Professor is going for what, like 8 years? Nah.
What was
7
that?
years? Cigar Professor has been going for what?
6. No,
6 years.
So your face didn't work for the first 6 years. Let me get this right.
Now listen, when we started the Cigar Professor, I already had tens of thousands of fans. It's not my fault that the Cigar Professor hasn't followed suit. I will say though, so Tony's asked a question here. Why don't I cross promote the Cigar Professor on the Oddcast show, especially when I'm smoking a cigar? Yeah, and the reply from Mr. Stew is broadly correct. We have to be super careful, really, really super careful how we promote and whether we promote. I have once or twice actually streamed the Cigar Professor to my Topher page, just kind of unannounced, just added it as another destination, and people that want to join in have joined in. I haven't done that for a long time, but I did used to do that every now and again. But yeah, the laws around tobacco advertising are really, really strict. This show is only possible because it's an education show. And so
not only that, we actually have been removed from being able to be found publicly on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I believe we're not as readily hit on YouTube anymore either.
Yeah. So it's the whole, the regulatory environment is challenging, let's just say.
It is.
Yep. I'm with you there, Daniel. That was the only reason everybody was there for the live show anyway.
Well, I was annoyed that when I'd finished talking to all of my adoring fans, she was still going. She had a handful left. But I've decided that can't be because she's more popular. It must be because she's a woman and she had long conversations instead of short ones. I cannot possibly believe, despite all the evidence to the contrary, I cannot believe that she's more popular than me.
This sounds really weird, and it's not a tasting note I think I've ever had in a cigar before. You know when you get a really nice cooked carrot and it's got a natural like carrot sweetness to it?
Sure.
I reckon those last couple of puffs was almost a little bit of that sort of the skin of a carrot and the carrot sweetness in it. That is utterly bizarre.
You're right. I have never heard that tasting note before. That's a new one.
And you have never lost.
Not unpleasant. It's just trippy.
I'm lost, James. You've lost me. You've never lost me.
Finally, I finally lost Omar.
Think again, please.
Yeah. Omar has never missed a show until you mentioned a tasting note of carrots, and now he's out. He's done. He's gone. He'll never be back.
It does have a very interesting note. I don't know what his dilemma is. He's trying to articulate it, and it's very interesting. It's sweet, but it's not. It's got a herbalness in it, and
it's moved away from that stone fruit sweetness that it had earlier. It's eased away from that, but it isn't coming through with that sort of traditional vegetative note. It's not the celery. It's not the fennel. Although it could head that way. I get a sense it could go towards the fennel, but it's not there at the moment. It is in this interesting in between spot.
It's almost got that sort of doesn't know whether it wants to be fennel. Doesn't know whether it wants to be a sort of a bit of a licorice because of that sweetness there.
Yeah.
And the reason I was coming for that carrot is because that skin note that we were picking up before, the fruit skin has become more like a vegetable skin note.
Well, I have a sudden urge to watch Looney Tunes. I don't know why, but all of a sudden.
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Yeah.
The only trouble with the Looney Tunes cigars is they tend to go bang.
They have a habit.
They do. And I know exactly how to make those, except cigars are too damn expensive to even bother.
You wouldn't want to ruin one?
Not at all.
I have got a mate who discovered that his dad had fought in Vietnam, and he'd never talked about it. He had no idea. And then they were out playing golf, father and son, and his dad had driven down the fairway, and he got to the ball first, and he swapped it out for one of those exploding ones. And his dad hit the golf ball. It went bang, and had a bit of a flashback meltdown right there in the middle of the golf course. And that's how he found out that his dad was a combat veteran from Vietnam. So, unintended consequences.
Yes. Actually, I used to be part of a reenactment group from old Sydney Town, the Redcoats that used to see march around at old Sydney Town, the Australian Royal Marines.
Yeah,
that came out with the first fleet, and so I used to be marching around with a musket and do blank firings. We're doing a thing for the council for some event up at Narrabeen Lakes, the north side of Sydney, and we had our 9-pound cannon with us that day, and we're firing across the lake. Anyway, we saw a building across the other side of the lake, and we thought, oh, you know, it'd be just fun, aim it in that direction, right? Because it was all bush and there's this, you know, complex there. And anyway, so all day we've been firing this cannon at that building, and I happened to ask someone from the event organizer and just said, oh, just out of interest, what's that building across the other side of the lake? Turned out it was a war veterans home.
Oh no. I assume you were firing blanks. I assume you're not firing live 9-pound cannonballs.
Blanks, but I was like, oh.
Yeah.
If I'd known that earlier in the day, we might not have been using that as a target. I mean, admittedly, it was like, you know, 800, 900 meters away, but nonetheless, the might have been a bit interesting for the nurses on duty there with the war veterans tipping the tables over and crouching down behind the lounges and the beds.
Oh dear. Certainly a lot of rings in this cigar.
Yeah, some good ones.
I'm pleasantly surprised by this cigar. I wasn't expecting such a complex flavor profile from this cigar, but I am really enjoying. It's not only is it complex, but it's also quite mellow and smooth at the same time. I've really been finding the retro on this cigar very pleasant.
So I was having a coffee this morning in Sydney and at Bauhaus, and because our Airbnb was right across from Bauhaus where we were staying for the conference, and they had some dude there with a video camera, was obviously putting together an ad for them or some social media content or something like that, and stuck a camera in my face and asked me to what do you think of the coffee? And so I just pulled out a bunch of the wanky words I've learnt from you about coffee, and talked about it was approachable. And I mean, I was honest; it was approachable, easy drinking with some very pleasant earth tones and hints of cacao, and that was about it. It wasn't some high-end specialty coffee. It was a pretty uncomplicated coffee, pretty well suited to my taste, to be honest. I was enjoying it. And the guy sort of finished his record, and he's like, "Oh wow, you must be like the coffee expert, whatever." And of course, I didn't level with him that no, I know a coffee expert, but I'm not one. And I just said, "Oh yeah, look, I'm from Melbourne," and he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, okay." Like, yeah, we're all like Melbourne, this is just Melbourne coffee drinkers,
Yeah. Well, I have noticed in Sydney now, a lot more cafes. You can go and order a magic.
So at the conference they had a barista there. Wasn't very good, but they had one, and people were ordering magics from them, and they knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were doing it correctly with the 2 ristrettos, but they were probably just pulling a double shot and calling it a magic. But anyway.
Yeah.
I've had to learn to live
another
with that.
drink that I've got onto last year that has become a bit of a regular for me is 1/4 cortado. So it's very similar to a magic. Same sort of coffee ratio, but instead of being a double ristretto with milk, it's a single espresso with milk in a 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah, right.
And it's sort of, you got the best of both worlds. You got that same flavor profile and strength that you get with a magic, but sort of more the size of a more than a macchiato, but less than a piccolo.
Yeah. Now, well, I've had to move away from milk in my coffees altogether. I've discovered it doesn't milk. I can drink milk, but as soon as it's been warmed up, it does not agree with me. So I've been on the long blacks for a while.
Good man. I'd say about 95% of the coffee that I drink is black.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm enjoying it.
Good coffee doesn't need milk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm enjoying it, and it's uncomplicated. I use the V60 that you gave me, Damo, every single day. That if I'm in Albury, I'll make myself a coffee with that, and I'm only using pretty average beans, but I put in quite a lot of it, and then only make a small amount of coffee out of it, and the flavor comes up pretty nice. I'm pretty, for my basic tastes.
Great question, Tony. So there's two fields of thought. So in the standard cafes that just run by metrics, a ristretto is effectively half an espresso shot. But in the higher end cafes, they actually look for the change in the color and texture of the crema as it's coming off the spout. It still ends up being approximately half a shot, but sometimes it can be a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. What they're actually looking for is that transition in the coffee where it's gone from being majority coffee solubles and oils, and it transitions into being more water. So the shot will actually start to go thinner and more watery as the espresso shot progresses, and they cut it at that midpoint where that transition is. So in the more high-end cafes, they're actually watching it, and probably 80-90% of the time it's still half an espresso shot. But they're looking at the flavor and performance of the coffee, whereas if you go to a more mundane cafe that are just punching out normal coffee to water, they'll just do half a shot. So,
or for something like a Magic, they'll do a double ristretto where they set up for a double shot and they just pull a single. And in my experience, a lot of the time they're not watching it; they just pull a single, and that's that. It's, which in theory amounts to roughly the same thing. But if you're really into your coffee, then you want someone that actually knows what they're doing and is watching it. But even back when I made coffees, I would just set up a double and pull a single. That was, but I was at a volume-based cafe on Brunswick Street in Fitzroy.
Yep.
We weren't trying to do the high-end stuff.
And in a busy cafe environment, that's often the way it has to be when you're trying. Wow, look at that ring.
Yeah.
You've got some really good rings in that cigar tonight.
Been a couple of good ones.
Here's the question: does Senator Babbitt blow rings?
Look, I don't talk to him about what happens in Parliament House on a Friday night. I haven't asked. No, so Senator Babbitt has a very unique style. He knocks the ash off constantly. He's constantly getting rid of the ash, just into the ashtray, just kind of rolling the tip around, just knocking the ash off. It doesn't like to have an ash buildup. And at one point, he went to tell me, Stu will verify. Stu was there, and he was telling me I needed to ash my cigar, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'll keep this on for as long as I can. And I managed to not wear it. It did fall on the ground, but I managed to not actually Topher myself. I managed to not wear it. But no, he's got his own. He slobbers all over the cigars, and he chews on them, and he knocks the ash off constantly. Yeah,
you don't share cigars with Omar.
Yeah, no. But we've always said it's about how you enjoy it, and if that's how he wants to enjoy it, then that's how he enjoys it.
It might also be that he is also not trying to drop too much ash on the carpet in his office.
Well, that's possible, yeah.
Well, it's a European / Cuban / South American tradition, and they don't keep the ash because of the etiquette of it. You don't want it to go. Okay. It's very common in Europe, very common in South America.
Yeah,
it'd be really good to do a masterclass with him, and because I know that he predominantly does enjoy the Cuban cigars, which tend to be a lighter profile. And one of the benefits of building up the ash on the New World cigars is that it actually tames down the flavor profile a bit, and you actually get a smoother, more mellow, more balanced smoke style out of it, which you're not usually having to worry too much about the Cuban cigars, because the Cuban cigars generally tend to be a lighter flavor profile. And I think that it's definitely something that I developed when I got into the Maduros and the Habanos and the sun-grown cigars, to just really get that flavor profile that I truly enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. And I mean, look, he'd be a good guest to have on the show, but he's also a busy bloke, so I don't know. Don't know whether he'd make time or not. But yeah, everyone's got their own style, and this is the thing. This is an individual hobby, an individual pastime, and you enjoy it how you enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Tony, I refer to it as my 4 years of living behind enemy lines. I lived in an apartment building in Fitzroy, and when I got recognized on the street, it wasn't usually a good thing. But no, I worked in a cafe to pay the bills. I mean, I was working also in the warehouse. When I first moved to Fitzroy, I was still working in the warehouse, making good money. And then they lost their contract and I left that job and started doing some other work, and then that fell through and I ended up just taking up some work at a cafe. And it was funny because off Brunswick Street is where you've got the good coffee. The coffee that's actually available on Brunswick Street kind of sucks. And I was in one of those places where it was, the owner of the cafe hated it. He'd married a woman who already owned it, and then he'd ended up in charge of it because she'd come to hate it. And then the marriage was going to crap, but he was the only one putting any effort into the restaurant. It was Joe's Garage, for those of you that know the area. And the owner hated it. And I'd been a regular there for a little while, living just literally around the corner. I could walk to work in 30 seconds. And I walked in one day and said, I'm looking for some work. And he had me behind the machine within 15 minutes. Never really taught me anything. I had to teach myself and watch some YouTube videos and figure it out. And within about 6 months, there were people would come in and they would tell me that they would only come in for a coffee if I was the one on the machine. And I of course didn't tell them that they could get much better coffee if they just walked down one of the side streets. I just took the compliment, but yeah, it was, it's not hard to make acceptable coffee, even from, average beans. If the machine is adjusted well, you can still get a decent coffee out of it. Yeah, I worked there for probably about 2 years, I think.
Cool.
I'm pretty certain Proud Mary opened up a cafe on Brunswick Street, Fitzroy. I just can't remember what it was called. I think it's gone now. I think it fell over.
Might have been after my time, but no, I would go there for the food, not for the coffee. They did some good pizzas and they did some other good food that was relatively inexpensive. But if I wanted coffee, I would always go somewhere else. But yeah, then I ended up on their machine. I'm getting right down the business end. This is still quite smooth, but there's a little bit of a campfire note coming in right at the end, a little bit of a charcoal, just on the tongue.
Yeah. Also, that vegetative note is definitely headed towards the celery side of things for me as well.
Yeah, that is picked up. Yep. Still beautiful, very easy to smoke, very likable. Stu and Daniel, you were there when Babette lit up. Do you see what he was smoking? I started late. I had to pack up, so I didn't actually see what he was smoking. But if you guys did, let us know in the comments.
It was Ave Maria Immaculata.
Of course, you were there too. Yes. Okay.
And then actually, I gave him the CAO Amazon Basin dagger as well as a follow-up.
Nice. Yeah, nice. Well, it was a good afternoon. I enjoyed the not the Cigar Professor live, the Oddcast live and in person first birthday. It was good fun. We'll do it again next year.
I want to see the two of you arrive in a DeLorean.
Goodness, I don't even know where to find one. I mean, is there a DeLorean club in Australia? Were they a thing over here? There is, okay.
There is. There's not many, but there is. Actually, I think I know somebody who might know somebody. Got a friend who's in the who was in the Corvette club, and then he swapped to being in the Mustang club. But he's connected with a lot of American car collectors. So I'll ask him if he knows anyone in Melbourne that has a DeLorean.
Damo, Stu, I hope you blocked your girl's ears when I was doing my my stand-up. Probably not safe for that age group. I noticed, Stu, that you didn't say you enjoyed it.
That's right, Daniel. It wasn't the... it was underpowered. Suspension was not great. And I believe it also might have had some gearbox issues as well. But it had a lot of potential. I think that if it hadn't have gone the way that it had gone, and it was a company that actually was able to develop and grow, I think they would have really come out with a phenomenal vehicle.
It was the look, the styling for its time was phenomenal. And of course, being picked up in the Back to the Future movie was handy. But I think they were already in trouble when that movie came out. I think they weren't able to capitalize. If I remember rightly, they weren't able to capitalize on the marketing from being included in the movie, and it was kind of their fate was already sealed by that point in time, I think. But yeah, there's been a lot of American car companies that have started up, done one, and of course, the first cars are incredibly complicated. The first one you make is going to be a lemon for lots of reasons. And sadly, most of these companies never manage to survive it. So there's just another one on the long list.
There is a company that bought all the inventory and is actually making brand new DeLoreans in America. So you can actually buy a brand new DeLorean.
Yeah, wow. There's a company in Australia that's trying to make modernized, essentially Tiranas. They've I don't know if they've got the exact body panels, etc. But when you look at them, they're kind of appealing to the nostalgia of that era. Manual transmission, V8, but with better technology and modern fuel injected engines, all that sort of stuff. But pardon me, the cost ends up being, you're choosing between that or a decent Porsche if you want, for the same money. And I just look at it and go, look, I love the passion. I love the nostalgia of it. But if I was in the market for a car and willing to spend and able to spend that kind of money, I just don't think I could pull the trigger on something like that.
Yeah. For that sort of money, you sort of want to buy something a little bit more established and a little bit more, what's the word? Sort of a little bit more refined.
Well,
there's definitely a really nice on the lips. There's definitely a herbaceous, almost sort of a clovey, nutmeggy sort of note there on the lips.
A little bit of a clove coming in right at the end. I've literally gone right down to the nub. I can't. I'll burn my lips if I try and have any more. But that vegetative note became a bit of a dominant feature right towards the end.
You finished too, Omar?
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. I'm not quite at the lip burning stage yet, but I'm near the end.
Yeah, beautiful cigar. Beautiful cigar. And very easy to smoke. It's a very unfussed cigar. I got a 5-pack of them, and I've had a few of those. And every single time, it's one of those cigars that you could light up when you're working in the workshop or, when I'm in the studio researching or writing. As you demonstrated earlier in the show, from what you were saying, Damo, you can put it down for a while, come back to it, and it'll pick back up again just fine.
Yeah. Burns well. Haven't had to baby it at all. I had a little incident at the start just because I had a damaged wrapper and hadn't quite lit it properly, but that was like right at the very beginning. A few puffs in, touched it up. It's been burning perfectly ever since.
Yeah.
Great cigar.
So is that a decision made then on what the next pack's going to be?
Look, I think we're looking at it. Just been watching the comments through. I think we're about at a 50-50 split. So, I guess people can just keep an eye on their emails this coming week, next week. And obviously I will say what's in it.
Yep.
As I mentioned, the price of the pack will have to go up ever so slightly, just because the pack prices haven't included the additional licensing fees that the government brought in last year.
Yep.
Which, believe it or not, I'm only 4 months away from having to pay again.
It's insane.
Because, of course, charging me thousands of dollars is stopping all the criminals.
That's right. We can see how well that's working.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I haven't heard otherwise, but as far as I'm aware, 1st of March, the tobacco tax is supposed to be going up 6.25%. So then they charge GST on top of that again.
Have they actually sorted it out? Because when they brought it in, you had to pay, but there was actually no guarantee that you would get the license either.
Correct. So now that I've actually got the license, I'm confident that I'll pay and get the renewal. But yes, that is true. So when last year, 26th or 27th of June, every tobacconist got an email in New South Wales saying effectively the 1st of July, your license is cancelled unless you apply for a new license. If you've applied for a new license by, I think it was the 6th or 7th of July, you couldn't apply until the 1st of July either. But you could apply, and you had to pay as part of the application process.
Yeah.
Just because you paid and because you had one didn't guarantee you were going to get one. And I dare say there was probably no refund either if you didn't get it as well.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough that a few months later, I think it took them 2 or 3 months to issue me my license, but the condition was as long as you applied and had your receipt of proof of application and payment, you were allowed to continue to trade under your existing license until a decision had been made. And if they said no, well, that was it, all over for you. So
amazing. Just incredible. So I just spent 2 days at the Aspire conference, which is a spin-off from ARC, and just hearing from person after person the way that this country is being strangled through just absurd regulations and fees and all the other nonsense that goes with it. It's I've come away from the conference optimistic. It's, the tone of the conference was optimistic, but boy, we've gone a long way down a very dumb road in this country. We really have.
So the last week and a half, I've been in the process of renewing my blasting license in Victoria.
Right.
Got an email. Your license is expiring 31st of March. Click here to apply online. Everything's got to be done online now. Clicked here. Mm-hmm. Started the online process. Got to a certain point. Had to upload your training credentials. So I uploaded my qualifications. And, oh, no, we don't accept qualifications that are more than 6 months old. So I actually had to come. That was one of the reasons I was down in Victoria last week. I actually had to go down and redo the course. The government recommended 3 accredited authorised training providers. One has stopped teaching the course, which is the Victorian TAFE. The other company has gone bankrupt last year and is not offering the course. The third company that they recommended on their website, so their website actually lists the name of the company and the contact details. The third company is based in Queensland. I rang them up to do the course, and they said, technically we are authorised by the government to deliver their course. However, they haven't given us our licensing to run the course in Victoria. We've been waiting 18 months. We've paid. We keep jumping through all these hoops for them. We still do not have permission to physically run the course, and we don't have permission to transport and store our explosives in the state to run the course, and until they issue it, we can't run the course. And so apparently one of the government inspectors had to renew their license. And so what they managed to somehow ad hoc do was get one of the staff members from the bankrupt company who's now working for another company teaching scaffolding and rigging and all those other workplace licenses to get him to run the course as a bit of an ad hoc thing. Of course, he's the only guy doing it, so the price doubled.
Sure.
And so I've done the course, got my credentials, uploaded that yesterday, back online, continued the process. Now they're turning around. I have to justify that I have a commercial need for my license. they need to show that I've done a minimum amount of work in the last 2 years to justify it, a minimum number of jobs of this category, and this category, to substantiate that I have a valid need for the license. And get this, they want 6 letters from former clients verifying that I have done this work for them and that I have the need to have the license to do future work for them in the next 5 years.
It's insane. It's insane. and this is what I talk about. I'm going to get political, but this is why I say every government employee costs us 3 times. Right? Yeah. The money that gets taxed out of our hands, or inflation because it's been borrowed and gone on the national debt to pay them, then a productive person who's been pulled out of productive work and they're now doing make work, and then all the time that they waste for everybody else. So it's actually, it's taxed 3 times over. And it that's just a classic example of it. They're just all this make work.
I've spent 2 days in paperwork and 4 days away from the office to do the course. So it's taken me 6 days of my time to renew a license. And just simple things, right? So I had to get a 100-point ID check done. Mm-hmm. Normally you can just go to the post office and do it. Mm-hmm. But because the way the legislation is written, it has to be a Victorian post office, even though all postal employees are federally employed. Yeah. So I couldn't go to my local post office and get the documents witnessed and ID'd. So I had to then ring around to find a JP. I'm a JP myself, but I can't witness my own documents. Yeah. I spent hours ringing around trying to find JPs in my local area, all of whom ring, busy, not in the area, can't do it till next week, I'll come the week after, whatever. And I just ringing until I found actually one of my wife's customers happened to be a JP, and I just bailed them up and got them to... But if that hadn't have happened, I'd still be in the lurch trying to get the damn documents witnessed and certified. And the irony is, the ID they wanted was my driver's license and my passport, but it had to be witnessed. But the irony is they're the government. They can check whether these government licenses are valid and they're actually correct on their own system. Yeah. So why the hell they need the damn thing bloody verified and witnessed by Yeah, they can look up the damn computer systems themselves, see the photo that I've already provided for my license, see the license photo on my old license, see the photos on everything, check that it all matches up, but no.
Yeah, madness.
I think it's all about shirking the responsibility. And, they can wash their hands of, if anything goes wrong, they can point the finger at someone else and say, oh, we didn't do that.
Yeah. So. And also there's no incentive for them to be efficient. There's no need. They get paid, the same regardless. So there's all of the incentives that exist in the private sector for efficiency and actually getting through the work and, doing something productive. None of those incentives exist for the public sector. And yet they're wasting the time of people in the private sector. So yeah, that really, really boils my blood. It pisses me off so much.
Ralph Babbitt agreed with me that there actually should be a democratic election process for the public service.
Yeah.
I think if the public service actually required us to vote for them to keep their jobs, they'd be singing a totally different tune.
So I assume List Black, you must be Dave. Hi, Dave. Nice to meet you. So Stu was asked, how was your cigar? And the reply was all right. Jumped the gun with the perfect draw tool. And so it smoked it a bit quick and was a little bit harsh. Didn't get a lot of tasty notes. Blame it on the noob era. I think. Well, welcome to the hobby. It's an exploration. It's a journey. It's, we've all sort of told our stories here in the past, but I started on flavored cigars. My very first cigar was a chocolate dipped one, and then some vanilla ones after that, and then got into sort of real cigars and developing the technique and then developing the palate to be able to even figure out what it is that you're even tasting. That's just, it's time and enjoying lots of cigars.
Well, I'm done. I could probably get a few more puffs on it, but it's getting a bit lip burning and starting to turn on me. So that's it for me tonight as well. Thank you for that.
Well, I tell you what, it's a good hour and a half out of that stick. So
yeah.
Well,
pretty
for
good
you
for
guys,
a Robusto sized cigar.
Yeah, I smoked mine a bit too fast, but yeah, another beautiful cigar. Thank you, Professor Damo.
You're welcome. Well, as I said, everybody keep an eye on your emails. What I might even do is I might even get a photo and throw it up on our Facebook group. So as long as you're a subscriber to our Facebook group, you'll have to search for The Cigar Professor and join the group, because it has been blocked from public viewing.
Yep.
In order to be able to find us and see us. I will also be putting a link in the next pack to our other social media platforms that are more friendly, because it's probably the way things are going, worth having a backup location that we can continue doing this on, should the wokeness get any more crazier than it currently is.
Yeah. Yes. Sadly, we're not past the peak of the madness when it comes to tobacco laws.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yes. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And we will see you all again the last Wednesday of next month.
Yes, indeed.
See ya.
Alrighty, Damo, all yours.